Oh,
Are we good? Okay.
maybe on that side, I don't know.
1.0, opening a meeting at 6:45 p.m. 2.0, call to order. Is there a need for an interpreter?
¿Alguien necesita intérprete? ¿Todos somos bilingües? Qué bonito.
Okay. 3.0, roll call. Juan Pablo Vuelta, Student
Here.
Board.
Oh, sorry.
John Vasquez.
Here.
Alice Lopez.
Here.
Isamar Hernandez.
Here.
John Alvarez.
Here.
And myself here. Would everyone please stand for the flag salute? And Rosemary, would you please lead us?
Ah, Rosy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Five consent calendar. 5.1, approval of regular board meeting minutes for November 7th, 2022.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Alice Lopez, second by John Vasquez. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
401. 6.0, awards and presentations. At this moment, I'm going to turn over the meeting to our board clerk, Dr. Chavez.
Good evening, everybody. Buenas noches. I want to take this opportunity to do a recognition of our two board members that are leaving their seats tonight. So if you could please join me as we honor them and give them a plaque of gratitude. So I'm going to go off the mic. So I'm going to use my teacher voice. Okay. Good thing I have a halls. Typical teacher, right? So teachers go out here, it's all about the halls. First of all, I would like to ask Ms. Isamar to come on down. This is presented to Ms. Amar Hernandez for honorary board member service to the students of Farmersville Unified School District, April 2021 to December 2022. We give her a big round of applause. And Mr. George Vasquez, this is presented to Mr. Jorge Vasquez for honorary service as a school board member president, the Board of Trustees, Farmersville Unified School District, from December 2021 to December 2022. I hope you like it. This is your job. So anybody wishing to take pictures at this time? If not, if we could please join me in giving both of them a big round of applause. All right. Let's give them a big round of applause. All right. At this time, we will be doing the oath. We'll be swearing in our new board members. So if our new board members can come on up to the front, our re-elected and new board members, so they can come to the front and face the audience as we go through each individual person and we do the oath. Okay, so we'll start. At the general election held on November the 8th, 2022, Johnny Ray Alvarez was elected to the office of Governing Board Member, Farmersville Unified School District in Tulare County, California, for the term of 4 years to expire on December 11th, 2026. So, Mr. Alvarez, if you could please raise your right hand and repeat after me in a nice loud voice. I, Johnny Ray Alvarez, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Please join me in giving a big round of applause to Mr. John Alvarez. Okay. At the general election held on November the 8th, 2022, Sabrina Gomez was elected to the office of Governing Board Member, Farmersville Unified School District in Tulare County, California, for the term of 4 years to expire December 11th, 2026. Ms. Gomez, if you could please raise your right hand and repeat after me in a loud voice. I, Sabrina Gomez, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Ladies and gentlemen, please give our Ms. Sabrina Gomez a big round of applause. At the general election held on November the 8th, 2022, Mr. Ruben Macareno was elected to the office of Governing Board of Farmersville Unified School District in Tulare County, California, for the term of 4 years to expire December 11th, 2026. Mr. Ruben Macareno, if you could please raise your right hand and repeat after me in a loud voice. I, Ruben Macareno, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Please give him a big round of applause. Okay. At this moment, the current members that are exiting, please go ahead and step down. And the new board members, please come on up, take your seat.
We'll reorganize,
Yeah.
Organize later.
Yeah,
Want to reorganize
Item,
Yeah, we'll do it
yeah,
later.
item B, election of officers. Come on up, sir. Item B, election of officers. For the position of president of the school board.
I move for John Alvarez.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? On a 5-0 vote, we have a new president of our school board. For the position of clerk, the clerk of the school board, do we have a motion for the clerk position?
Motion for John Vasquez.
Second.
Motion by Alice Lopez, seconded by John Alvarez. Do I hear a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, on a 5-0 vote, please welcome our new clerk for the Farmersville Unified School District. For appointment of secretary of the school board, is there a motion?
Motion, Dr. Chavez.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? On a 5-0 vote, I've been appointed the secretary of the board. Item C on the agenda is the establishment of the meeting dates. They are as follows: January 17th, February 14th, February 28th, March 14th, March 28th, April 18th, May 9th, May 23rd, June 13th, July 18th, August 8th, August 22nd, September 12th, September 26th, October 10th, October 24th, November 14th, December 12th.
Move.
Second.
Motion made by Alice Lopez, seconded by
John Vasquez.
John. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? On a 5-0 vote, we have our meeting dates, so you can bank on those dates. Thank you. Item D, authorized signature form,
Move.
Second.
okay? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? 5-0 vote. We need to select a board representative to vote in the 2023 in-election of county committee members.
Move.
Do we have a motion?
Move for John Vasquez.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? On a 5-0 vote. Certification of district clerk election, item E.
Move.
Motion, Alice Lopez, second,
Second.
John Alvarez. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? 5-0 vote. Item G, forms to be completed by the board, and Rosemary will make sure that you get those. The Registry of Public Agencies, the Governing Board Members Information Sheet, and the Form 700. If you can get those back to Rosemary, either by the end of the meeting or first thing tomorrow. Okay, we have to turn those into the county. Okay, so this portion of the meeting is adjourned at 7 p.m. So we're gonna take a 10-minute break. We have refreshments. We have hot apple cider. We have some hors d'oeuvres. So we will reconvene at 7:10. So feel free to get a refreshment, and please give the board members a new round of applause. All right.
Are you gonna go with your sister?
Where are you going, dude? You gonna go
Oh,
get
you
something to
gonna get a
drink?
cookie?
Go get a cookie.
Get some snacks.
The hot chocolate?
You don't want to get snacks? Yes, in
I
there.
gotta fill these out.
Huh?
Fill this out.
Ah, okay.
Ask Rosemary which ones you need.
Oh, congratulations.
Which ones they are.
Hi, ¿cómo están? ¿Gustan verlas?
Here.
Ruben Macarino,
Here.
Alice Lopez,
Here.
John Vasquez,
Here.
and myself. 4.0, adoption of the agenda. 4.1, adoption of the agenda is requested as presented.
Make the motion with the addendum.
Motion by Alice with the addendum, which is 13.2.8, correct?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Second by John Vasquez. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 5.0, consent calendar. 5.2, approval of release warrants dated October 27th, 2022 in the amount of $434,413.24. November 2nd, 2022 in the amount of $40,911.18. November 9th, 2022 in the amount of $384,008.88. December 1st, 2022 in the amount of $648,137.23.
Motion with a question.
Motion with a question.
I'll second that motion.
Alice, John Vasquez. Second, Alice, go ahead.
There was something on here for turf equipment. Can you tell me what the turf equipment was? It's on page, I believe, 2.
About $10,000.
Mr. Hunt, could you respond to that, the turf equipment?
That was for fertilizer and grass seed for the sports fields, for the high school.
Okay, so it's not fertilizer for the turf, it's fertilizer for the fields.
For the sports fields.
Okay.
Fertilize and seed the sports fields.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that fake turf that we have, and I was gonna say, okay, then makes sense. Thank you.
I think that's the name of the company, right? Is that what it is?
California Turf and Equipment.
Gotcha.
Is that it, Alice?
That was it.
John Vasquez?
That's it.
Sabrina? Ruben?
No question.
No questions? Okay.
To
All right.
call the vote.
We'll go ahead and go and vote. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 5.3, approval of attending California Nursing Organization Conference on February 16th through the 19th, 2023 at Riverside, California.
Move.
Second.
First by Alice Lopez, second by John Vasquez. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 5.4, approval of
Naloxone.
naloxone policy and procedure.
Move.
Moved by Alice Lopez,
Second.
John Vasquez. Questions?
I have a question. Is that the same item that it's in the news a lot lately, the NorCal?
Yes.
They kind of, it's the same, it's just the proper name of it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 6.0, awards presentation. 6.2, student body member report.
Good afternoon. Last Friday, Mr. Rojas' economic class hosted an Aztec Market Day where students in the class got to sell things like tamales, pozole, boba, and more. Also going on in our school is our dress-up week for the winter season. On Monday, it was Jingle Like a Christmas Tree. Tuesday was Pajama Day. On Wednesday, Christmas Sock Day. Thursday is Ugly Sweater. And Friday is Christmas in July. Also, to celebrate the winter season, the Spanish Club is selling candy cane grams during lunch for all students. Going into sports, our boys soccer team recently had a game on Thursday where we went against Exeter for the Chewy Cup. It was a tough game and we came out with a win, and the Chewy Cup got to stay home. Coming up is our finals for every class and students and our winter break. I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you.
8.0, public comment. Members of the public may address the board on any agenda item or other items of interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board before or during the governing board's consideration of the item. the board is not able to discuss or take action on any item not appearing on the agenda. Pursuant to board policy, the board may limit individual comments to no more than 3 minutes, individual topics to 20 minutes. Please begin your comments by stating your name.
So just to add, the board has asked that during public comment, everyone be respectful of the speakers. Members of the public should not interrupt or interject while another person is giving their own public comment. During public comment, there shall be no use of foul language. Should a member of the public have a concern about a specific employee, we ask that you direct those concerns to me, the superintendent, after this meeting, so that those concerns can be handled through the proper procedures. And please try not to use employee and student names when you are in public comment. So, Board President, we have one person requesting to speak, Ana Lilia Grimm. Ms. Grimm?
Good evening. Welcome, new board. My name is Ana Lilia Grimm, and I represent Farmersville Teachers Association. Good evening to the board, administrators, teachers, classified staff, parents, and community members. First of all, I want to send the regrets of the FTA board president, Julie McIntosh, who had a family emergency and is on her way out of state and unable to join us tonight. All of the FTA members here tonight came for 2 reasons. First of all, we would like to thank the outgoing board members, George Vasquez and Isamar Hernandez, for their service to the community through their participation on the school board. Next, we would like to welcome the incoming board members and exhort them to continue or to begin with the idea that the community has placed their trust in them. In August, we spoke about a lack of trust between FTA, the administration, and the board. Julie quoted author Stephen Covey, who said, "We judge ourselves by our intentions and others by their behavior." All of these people are here tonight to show that they have begun to trust in new leadership on the basis of their actions since they have come into this district, and they are optimistically hopeful that the board will also function in a way that will earn back the trust of the community, the staff, the families, and most of all, the students of Farmersville. We don't expect to agree with the board decisions on every issue. We do hope that decisions are now made thoughtfully, considering multiple perspectives. We trust that decisions will not just be legal according to the letter of the law, but also be moral. Most of all, we trust that the new board will keep in mind that no matter how important to the students of Farmersville, the issue seems to be that the ends do not justify the means. Right outcomes demand right actions. I will end with repeating another quote from Stephen Covey that was shared at the August meeting. The first job of a leader, at work or at home, is to inspire trust. It's to bring out the best in people by entrusting them with the meaningful stewardships and to create an environment in which high trust interaction inspires creativity and possibility. Thank you.
And that's all for public comments.
Okay, 8.1, superintendent comments.
Yes. Thank you, sir. So, I don't know, I don't see her in the audience, but I wanted, if we can please give her a round of applause. We have a new mayor. Her name is Ms. Tina Hernandez. Is she in the room? No? In absentia, can we give her a round of applause for being the new mayor of Farmersville? We look forward to be working closely with the city. I have a couple of announcements before I get to my main thing tonight. We had a wonderful Christmas event this past Saturday at the community center. We had close to 300 people, if not more. It was very well attended, and a lot of money was raised for our community, so I commend that. I also wanted to share with you that on January the 9th, while the students get to sleep in, our wonderful teachers and staff will be reporting to Farmersville High School for our professional development day. We have a jam-packed day and food waiting for you. So children, I'm sorry, you won't get the food, but you get to sleep in, okay? Know that February is coming around really, really fast, and that's gonna bring all of the standardized testing that we have to take every year. So we wish all of our students that they do the very best on both the LPAC and the SPAC. And I want to ask forgiveness ahead of time if I missed any event, but we have a plethora of winter events coming up. So on the 14th, we have a winter concert at Farmersville High School. It's 6:30. We have our drama production at the junior high at 9 a.m. We have Snowden Wonderland at 9 a.m. and Winter Wonderland at Freedom. And I think that's also at 9 a.m. So, yeah, we might have to just do like 5 minutes at each site. I don't know, but we got to try to get at all sites. Hester is having their winter program on the 15th and 16th. And just know that the children come back from vacation on January the 10th. All right. I want to recognize the students from Ms. Iñiguez's class. Can you please stand, the students from Iñiguez's class? Let's give them a big round of applause. Why is that so important? Go ahead and have a seat, children. Why is that so important? Well, it's important because this is your district. Everything we do for you. And your participation here is an honor for us. And we hope that you continue. And what I've noticed is that it's growing. And that's amazing. Especially all of our students, of course, but especially our seniors. Because we want to hear from you how we did. Did we prepare you well? And if yes, great. If not, then where can we grow? Because we're all listening. Okay? So it's very important. Also, I want to recognize Mr. Rojas' class. Students from Mr. Rojas, please stand. I also want to thank you for coming. Go ahead and have a seat. So, Mr. Rojas, I want to thank you. Let's give a big round of applause. Is Ms. Iñiguez here? No, Mr. Rojas is here, though. Give him a right round of applause for all the work he's done. He invited me, was it last week or a couple days ago, to come and be a judge to the project that his students were working on in the area of commerce and marketing. It's an economics class, and they presented some beautiful ideas that are pretty basic to the point, but the idea is getting their feet wet on how marketing works. And we have a couple of students that when they sold the things that they put together at the Aztec marketplace, which is very telling because many argue that the Aztecs invented that marketplace, right? But they made $1,333.22 in one day. That's amazing. So we can give them a big round of applause. So that's awesome. And they did have a slight competition because we live in a society that's very competitive, right? All you got to do is ask Coke and then ask Pepsi and then long distance behind his poor RC Cola that I don't know how they're doing. But so we have 3 groups that did very, very well. And I'm going to share with you the name of their title of their product, the names involved with it, and how much profit they made. This is profit. Okay, so on top of all of their expenses. So in first place is Betty Boop Soup. Yes. Yes, it's Betty Boop Soup. Don't be fooled by the name. It's otherwise known as pozole. Uh-huh. They made $222 profit. And the wonderful students involved is Arlette Nava, Leslie Ramos, and Kayla Chavez, no relation. Let's give her a big round of applause. So I imagine with those $222, you have 2 choices. You could either go buy more to make more pozole or go buy panza and make menudo, whatever it is that it is up to you. Second place are Las Tamaleras. The name says it all, right? So, yeah, they were making tacos. Nah, they were making tamales. And they made $176 profit. Yeah, and it's Nora Apodaca, apodada, perdón, Ashley Cornejo, Elizabeth Armas, Litzy Reyes, and Giovanni Martinez. Let's give them a big round of applause. And in third place, these names are hilarious. In third place is Yak Yak Water, otherwise known as horchata. So yeah, I like this new lingo, new language. And they made $152 profit. And the wonderful individuals involved with that is Jesus Barajas, Cesar Rodriguez, Paulino Berjarano, and Sergio Perez. If we could please give them a big round of applause. So I just want to congratulate all of you, and amazing work. You definitely are the future of our district and the future of our community. Y son el orgullo de sus padres y el orgullo de todo el distrito. You're the pride of our district. And so we're very, very proud of you. We love you guys, and we want you to have nothing but success. Is that right? All of the adults in the room? Yeah, that's what we want for our babies. All right. Mr. President, I think that concludes my portion, sir.
Just a comment for me, Yak Yak, they won my heart because they got everything donated. Their father was in the dairy business, and so I thought that was great. I thought that was great.
Who are the Yak Yackers? Yes, the Yak Yak.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That concludes my portion, sir.
Okay. Let's move on to 10.0, K through 8 issues. 10.1, approval of signature revision to Snowden Elementary ASB account.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Ruth Macareno. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 7.0, high school issues. Approval to attend the CADA conference on March 1st to the 4th, 2023 at San Diego, California.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Sabrina Gomez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. 11.2, Rural Pilot Program, information only. 11.3, ratification for the West Ed Adult Education Bay Area Regional Training on December 1st to the 2nd, 2022, Santa Rosa, California.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
is that Sabrina?
Mhm.
Sabrina Gomez.
Microphone on.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Thank you.
11.4, approval of document tracking services agreement for 2023 and 2024.
Move.
Second.
Any questions?
I
All
have
in-
a question.
Go ahead.
Do we have a bidding process in regards to this? I mean,
I'm not sure. It's been in existence prior to my coming here.
oh,
I would imagine there was a bidding process.
Okay.
I will share with you that Dog Tracking is a formidable company that is used by various school districts to keep track of all our school plans, the LCAP, and they also do and provide translation.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we've been using them for several years. And there are fees that if we do use someone else, the fees will be much higher to reset everything up.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 11.5, approval of signature revision to the Farmersville High School ASB account.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
John Vasquez, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 11.6, approval of donations from LP West Logistics to Farmersville High School General Athletic Programs.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Go ahead, Sabrina.
Second.
Sabrina, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. 11.7, approval of donation from Farmersville Youth Football Programs to the Farmersville High School Athletic Programs.
Move.
Second.
Lopez, John Vasquez, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 12.0, curriculum. 12.1, approval of elevation agreement.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
John Vasquez. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote. 12.2, approval of 2022 through 2024 Panorama Educational Agreement.
Move.
Second.
Ms. Lopez, second by Sabrina. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote. 12.3, approval of school plan for student achievement, Hester, Snowden, Freedom, Farmersville Junior High, Farmersville High School, and DCA.
Move.
Ms. Lopez,
Second.
Sabrina. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote. 12.4, approval of grant award notification for 2022-23 agricultural career technical education incentive grant.
Move.
Ms. Lopez,
Second.
Juan Vasquez. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote. 13.0, personnel. 13.1, approval of certificated personnel, item 13.1.
Move.
Ms. Lopez,
Second.
John Vasquez. All in favor?
Aye.
I vote. 13.2, approval of classified personnel, items 13.2.1 through item 13.2.11 with 13.2.8 removed.
Move.
Ms. Lopez, give me a second.
Second.
Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0.
I abstain.
Abstain. 4, 1, 4-0. Okay. 13.3, approval, extracurriculum activity coaching personnel, item 13.3.1 through item 13.3.7.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
John Vasquez, any question? Well, actually, no questions. All in favor?
Aye.
I vote. 13.4, personnel action report, information only. 13.5, approval of teacher internship program agreement between University of Massachusetts Global and Farmersville Unified School District.
Move.
Second.
Ms. Lopez, John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 13.6, approval of variable term waiver and administrative services credentials for Teresa Waymire.
Move.
Second.
Ms. Lopez, John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 13.7, approval of agency agreement between Tulare County Office of Education, new teacher and leadership development induction, and Farmersville Unified School District.
Move.
Second.
Lopez, John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 13.8, approval of payroll coordinator, job description.
Move.
John Vasquez,
Second.
Alice Lopez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. 13.9, adoption of resolution number 08-12-13-22 for placement of employee 8184094758, a classified employee on the 39th month re-employment list.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Ruben Macarino, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. 14.1, 14.0, board business. 14.1, approval of board governance workshop.
I move to approve Thursday, January 12th.
January 12th, which is 6 PM to 9 PM.
I second.
John Vasquez, Alice Lopez. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody's available?
Are you available?
I'll be there.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. 5-0. 14.2, consideration of any item any board member of the board wishes to have on a future agenda or provide a written update. Alice Lopez?
Can we get an update or timeline for the bond measure? What our next moves are?
Did you have any?
Yes, ma'am. We will follow up with the people that have been supporting us on the bond measure for that. And I'll get that for you by next meeting.
John Vasquez?
Yeah, Board President and Dr. Chavez, just give me an update. I know we discussed the day program at Hester School. To look into that, can you get some more information on that for me and bring it back to the board?
Yes.
I would really like to have the
The-
board consider that.
Special day class?
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll present next time.
And also an update on the scoreboards that we've talked about in the past as well. Just give me an update on that, or you can always give it to us in a Friday letter, or give it to us at our next board meeting.
Okay. Yeah. Do we have an update right now, Mr. Hunt, on the scoreboards? Okay, we'll get it for you.
Okay, appreciate that. That's it for right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sabrina?
Not anything at this time.
Ruben?
Yes, I have several, actually. As a new board member, I'd like to make several inquiries. The first would be, and it could come in a written form or a future agenda item for discussion. The first being, I'd like to have an overview of our special education throughout the district, what we have now, what we offer, and if there's room for improvement.
As a matter of fact, would you like us to do a presentation at the next board meeting on the topic?
Absolutely.
We'll get something together. Yes, okay.
I would also like to have an overview in regards to collaborations we have with outside programs, with either colleges, to facilitate or develop a pathway for outgoing students to
Okay.
college universities. Also, and I guess this could be in written form, but something that I would like us to discuss a little further is having community engagement via facility use. In other words, community use of a track or track and field when not used by the school district or by students. Opportunities for youth and adult leagues that are in our gymnasium. What are the opportunities? Perhaps we already do it, I don't know. So kind of give me a little background in regards to that.
Yeah, we'll present that.
Okay, I'd also like to talk about, if we haven't already, again, I'm not sure we have. I know we've had discussions with the city in regards to the traffic situations that we have dropping our high school students and students at Freedom. So if there has been anything in terms of what the school districts can do, for instance, provide drop-offs, provide opening roads, for example, behind the high school, so that we could alleviate the issue that the parents and students have getting to school, because the bottlenecking's been a problem. The city are working on something, but it's gonna be a long range, so I'm looking for something more short-term. I don't know.
We have been meeting with the city in a 2+2 meeting,
Okay,
and that was one of the top topics.
okay,
I wish I can give you a shorter timeframe, but yeah, most definitely I'll have
yeah, if
something
we
for you.
could like kind of brainstorm what we can do to alleviate that issue for our parents in the district. I'd also like to talk about campus safety. What do we have in place to protect our students and our faculty and our staff? even in an active shooter situation. I'd like to know if we're prepared. We see this happen all the time. Doesn't mean that Farmersville, it cannot happen here. So I think it's very important that we address that, or at least talk about it, what we have in place.
Yes, I can brief you what we've been doing.
Okay, excellent. And finally, also, I've noticed that Farmersville is very unique in terms of their school configurations. We have our schools, we have the primary, then we have, third, fifth, the junior high, the high school. I would like to know if there's what the pros and cons are of even talking about neighborhood schools in terms of it helping our traffic situation, for instance. But is it something that the community would want to do, something all the stakeholders may consider doing? But having that discussion to see what we can do. I'd also like to know how we came about this configuration that we currently have right now. I don't know if it's something that was adopted from previous or just generational when Hester was just a primary and Selden was just fifth through eighth grade. I don't know.
I believe it's been several years, but we'll inquire.
Okay. And that should,
Okay, thank you.
thank you, Doctor.
I don't know if I can get all of these to
Oh,
you,
no,
but-
right away. Not right away.
but we will do our best.
Yeah,
All right.
Excuse me.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Myself,
Anything you wanna?
myself, just a priority list of, I know we have a lot of projects coming up, a priority list, that's where we begin, where we start. And then we can get a better idea of where we're going. I have spoken about possibly doing a website for the students, right? And selling their items and things on the website. Other schools have those. And we have students now that are they're business-minded. Our dinner, we had the welding department made centerpieces, and they all auctioned them all off. To learn your worth is to be in business. I like to create business owners, right? I like you to have your own companies. In either case, the website would be great. And then possibly a survey as to if kids are interested in possibly that culinary, creating a culinary school. It sounds like everybody's into food. Sounds like if we had a full commercial kitchen, fully supplied, that we can have students running programs every week, which would be great. Again, having your own company, your own business.
We are working on setting up a overall CTE survey.
Okay.
We'll make sure that the culinary is included in that.
Yeah, okay. There's a ton of other stuff, but we need to get on our projects. We'll begin with that. Okay.
Okay.
Let's move on then.
Mr. President, I'd like to request one more thing. An update on our busing, that we wanted to start eventually busing our high school and junior high so that we can ease up the traffic issue.
Yes,
See where we're at on that.
yes. I can give you temporarily. In the meantime, we're looking at setting aside some ESSER money, which is money we need to spend anyway, to purchase an additional bus. And then plus, right now, they're posting the bus driver positions. And so I can definitely have more information for you at the next meeting.
Possibly a survey on that too, huh? The kids are actually interested in riding the bus.
I think a survey was already done.
It's done?
Anybody here, any of you guys willing to take the bus? Yeah, we have one, too.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, there's a
And
couple in the
another
back.
Okay, great.
Okay. Let's move on to 15.0, business services. 15.1, presentation for first interim report. Mr. Kaff. Fun stuff.
Yeah. Coming up to the podium is Mr. Jason Caff, our Chief Business Officer. We can give him a round of applause para que se anime. All right.
Thank you very much. This works here. Well, first of all, I always like to thank the board before I begin these presentations for this opportunity, because these periodic financial reports are very important, so the board and the public can keep informed as to where we are financially. And what I always like to do to start off my periodic financial reports is just go over the reason why we do them. So go ahead and advance to this first slide here. So one of the first reasons is that it's a state requirement to improve fiscal awareness and the accountability of public school districts. The first interim reflects budget and actual revenues and expenditures from July 1st, 2022 through October 1st, 2022. The first interim includes reports on all funds. We have about 15 different funds, but for the purposes of first interim, I mainly just go over the general fund for a couple of reasons. One, that is our biggest fund by far, and that is the fund that has the most activity for the entire district. So we basically focus on that fund. And there's another very important component we have here that it includes the multi-year projections for this year, 23-24, 23-24, 24-25. And the reason we do that is because one of the requirements for public school districts is that we have to project our revenues and we have to project our expenditures as well. And so we have to do that out 3 years. So we see where the district is going financially, because in the third year out, we're required by the state law to basically maintain a certain minimum fund balance. And for a district our size, we have to at least maintain what is about a 3% fund balance, and for us, that hovers around $1.6, $1.7 million. And those are in here as well. Also, it's important to go over some of the main factors that are included in the first interim, because these are the main things that affect the revenue streams that we get through the various different funding resources. First is our unduplicated count. So for this year, it's about 93%. Basically, that's very high. The result of that is that means that we get a fair amount of money through the title programs because of this, and also we get a fair amount of money through the LCFF, specifically through the LCAP, because of this high unduplicated count. The next variable that's very important is the ADA. School districts, for the most part, are funded on ADA. So when students come to school, the school district receives funding. So we're expecting our ADA this year to be around 2417. And once again, this number fluctuates, up and down, every year because it's a projection. But that's fairly consistent. We've been going up and down for the past few years, but for the most part, this number's remained fairly consistent, which is good because it makes it better for financial planning purposes. And also, in the first interim, you'll see that we have several or a few different one-time funding sources that we'll go over. And the funding sources that we have in here are ESSERS 2, ESSERS 3, and another one called the Expanded Learning Opportunity Grant. Once again, these are one-time funding. So we'll get basically a few $1 million through each of these programs, but we only get it once. And basically the state says, we're going to give you X dollars, and you have until a certain deadline to spend it. If you don't spend it, then basically we'll take it back. So, but this is one-time money, so you'll see it in the budget, and I'll explain, where it is and how it's being used. But I think it's important too just to go over the deadlines. So for ESSERS 2, the deadline to spend that is September 30th, 2023. For ESSERS 3, it's September 30th, 2024. And for ELOG, which is another big one, that one, they like to keep things complicated, so they have two different expiration dates, basically, but part of it expires September 30th, 2023, and the remaining in 2024. Also, another big factor that I've included in here is that in next year's budget, and I've factored into the multi-year projection, I've set aside about $650,000 for the Farmersville High School shade structure, the welding booths, and a couple other miscellaneous things that the board has expressed interest in moving forward. So I factored those future costs into these multi-year projections. So what we're looking at here on this slide is what I call the general fund summary, and basically I have it broken down into two different pieces. Well, first I have it broken down into two different time periods. You'll notice on the left-hand side, that's the beginning of this year, so that's the original budget. That's a budget that the board adopted back in June of 22 for the 22-23 fiscal year. And the second column you have over there is first interim, so basically that's how the budget looks now. So I think it's good for comparison purposes, so the board can see the different revenue streams, how they've increased or decreased. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the different revenue streams, LCFF, federal, other state, and other local, and then there's a total. So when we adopted the budget back in June, we were projecting total revenue of about $49 million. And so once again, I'm just rounding for simplicity purposes. So about 49 million we were expecting to receive for this year. And then below that, we have the different expense categories. And I won't go through and read them all, but you can see, certificated salaries, classified salaries, benefits, so on and so forth. So at budget adoption, we are expecting to spend about 53 million. And for other financing sources and uses there, that little asterisk basically means how much we were anticipating basically contributing to the cafeteria. Because for the past couple of years, the cafeteria has not, its expenditures are exceeding its revenues. So the general fund has basically had to contribute funds to the cafeteria just to keep it self-sustained. So that's what that 648 represents. And the very last number is basically the net fund increase or decrease. So when we adopted the budget, we are projecting a decrease in the general fund budget of about 4.5 million. Okay. Now when we go over to the next column, this is how the budget looks now. So this is first interim. Now you'll notice our total revenue, I realized it was touchscreen. Now we're expecting the total revenue to come in at about 52.6 million. And probably the biggest increase you'll notice is the very top line is due to the LCFF revenue limit. At budgeted adoption, we were expecting about 32.9 million, but now we're expecting to receive about 35.3. The main reason for that increase is due to the fact that the governor's actual approved budget was significantly more than what he had anticipated with the May revise. And so basically we got more than we originally thought we were going to get when we adopted the budget based on the May revise. And that's the reason for that main increase there. You'll see that the federal revenue line went up a little bit. I mean, it wasn't too much, but that's basically due to carryover. So carryover is basically in the federal programs when not all the money is spent. Then if it's not spent, for example, in last year, we can carry it over from last year to this year. And so that's the reason that you're seeing this difference between the original budget and the first interim. The first interim number reflects the carryover from the prior year. And you'll see the other state and local really didn't change that much. So we have our total revenue, and then we have our different expense categories all the way down. And so our total expenditures at first interim are looking at about 56.9 million. And you'll notice that basically that's more than we had at budget adoption. And the main reason for that is basically due to all these new funding sources. And I'm sure the board will attest to the fact that we've been hiring quite a bit of staff. So you'll see both increases on the certificated salary line and the classified salary line as well as the benefits, because that's where basically the bulk of those costs are increasing. So all in all, at first interim, we're projecting that the general fund would decrease by about $4.8 million. Now, honestly, I'm not concerned with that for the main reason is that what this budget represents is basically we have to budget for every dollar that we're foreseeably going to spend. Sometimes not all the funds get spent. So in my experience, this is never really as dire as it looks. So even though the budget says we're going to decrease about 4.8 million, in reality, at the end of the year, it'll probably be less than that. So on this slide, what we're looking at here is the general fund, and here I have it broken down into two different components. On the left-hand side, you'll see unrestricted. Now, what unrestricted is basically the school district receives funding that it can use for any allowable school purpose. So on the unrestricted side, we'll receive money for teachers, classified staff, utilities, insurance, buses, electricity, gas, consultants, basically any allowable school purpose, we can use unrestricted funds to fund all those. Now, on the next column over, the restricted, as you'll notice there, we get a significant amount of money as well, about 16 million, from different basically categoricals that are restricted. And what that means is that basically they have certain strings to them. We can only spend them in a certain way. So for example, like a big one is Title I. We can only spend that in a certain way. Another big one is ESSERS 3. ESSERS 3 is one of our large one-time funding sources that we have a plan for. So we have to spend it according to the plan. We can't spend it on anything we want. We have to spend it basically according to the board-approved plan. And because of that, that lands it in the restricted column, which means we can only spend it a certain way. So our restricted funds, going back to unrestricted, we're projecting about 36.1 million in unrestricted funds. On the expenditure side, we're expected to spend about 36.2 million. The other financing sources and uses, so you'll see in that line there, there's $2.5 million, and then off to the right of it is 2.1. So what's happening here is because there are programs on the restricted side that basically don't generate enough revenue to sustain themselves. So the unrestricted side of the general fund has to give money essentially to the restricted side so it can keep funding itself. And so that's what that $2.1 million next to it means. And then on the far right-hand side, you'll see the negative 448. That's the potential contribution to the cafeteria from the general fund. So just jumping back over to the first column, restricted. So we have our revenues, expenditures, other financing sources. So the last line there is the net decrease. So on the unrestricted side of the general fund, we're expecting it to decrease about $2.6 million. Now if we go over to the restricted side, so we have total revenue of about 16.4, total expenditures of about 20.6 million, other financing sources uses. So on the restricted side, we're expecting the restricted side to decrease by about 2.1 million. And honestly, I expected that, so I'm not alarmed at all. And the third column over is the combined. Now what that is that's both of these columns. It's the unrestricted plus the restricted equals the combined, so it's the entire general fund. So total revenue is about 52.6. Total expenditures, we're looking at about 56.9. We have our cafeteria contribution there at 448. And then the net decrease is about $4.8 million for the entire general fund. And just to show the board, that $4.8 million that we see at the bottom right-hand corner matches the bottom right-hand corner of the total general fund at first interim. So the numbers match. So on this slide, we have the multi-year projection, which is what we call MYP. And once again, the reason that this is very important is that districts have to project their revenues and expenditures out 3 years so they can basically maintain fiscal solvency. So we're looking at the first column here, 22-23. So this year we started out, so the entire general fund, both pieces together, our beginning balance was about 15.1 million. Then we have our revenues and expenditures. We have the net change of the $4.8 million I've referenced before. So when we add those up, our beginning balance theoretically would go from about 15.1 million to about 10 million at the end of this fiscal year if we spend every dollar that we say we're going to spend that's in the budget. So in the next year, in 23-24, you'll notice at the very top, the beginning balance is the ending balance from the prior year. So in 23-24, we would start with about 10.3 million. We have our revenues and expenditures there. We have a net change of about 598,000. And so that would bring our ending fund balance to about 9.7, which is fine. And then that 9.7 becomes the beginning balance for the next year, 24-25. And we have our revenues and expenditures there as well. A net change of about $220,000. And so that would bring our ending fund balance to about $9.9 million. Now there's all kinds of things happening inside this one slide here. Once again, there's about 60 different revenue streams happening. So it's kind of all condensed onto one slide. But what I want to point out to the board is that you'll notice if we just go across the revenue lines there, you'll see in this year, our revenue is we're projecting about 52.6 million. When we go over to 23-24, we're projecting about 47.6. And in the third year out, we're projecting about 43.7. So you'll notice, obviously, that the revenue is decreasing for the next couple of years. And the main reason that's happening is because we have these significant one-time funding sources, which I mentioned a slide or two ago, specifically ESSERS 2. That's about 4.6 million. And ESSERS 3 is about remaining, probably in the about 8 million still remaining. So we have significant one-time funding that we've received that's in the budget, but we're not going to get it again because it's one time. So that's the reason you're seeing these revenue declines throughout the years. Now, on the expense side of the house, you'll basically see the same thing. You'll notice in this year, our expenditures we're projecting about 57.4 million. The next year, we're looking at about 48.2, and then the following year, it's decreasing as well to about 43.5 million. And so, obviously, we're all noticing that, well, what's going on here? Why are these expenditures dropping so quickly from one year to the next? And the main reason, once again, is we have these one-time funding sources which we've budgeted to use, and once we use them, we have to make adjustments to the budget so that we maintain our fiscal solvency. So that's the reason that you're seeing these numbers decreasing from one year to the next. So in the third year out, we're still projecting a healthy fund balance of about $9.9 million, which keeps us above our 3% reserve requirement. And once again, this assumes that we're going to spend every dollar in the budget. In the years I've been here, we never have spent every dollar in the budget. From one year to the next, there's always some type of carryover. So it's never really as dire as it looks, but nonetheless, we're required to present it in this format so the budget is balanced. So basically, that is a quick summary of the general fund. So I would like to thank the board for allowing me to give this presentation and see if the board has any questions.
Alex?
Yes, can you tell me which type of programs are not being self-sufficient?
Sure. Just because that they don't generate enough revenue doesn't mean that they're not worthwhile or, very important. So one of the biggest programs that basically doesn't receive any funding is maintenance, transportation, or custodial. For the most part, and once again, this is not a dig against those departments, they're very important, but the state basically has determined we don't get any funding specifically for those programs. Nonetheless, we are required to have them, but the state doesn't give us any money specifically for them. And that's the reason they give us basically unrestricted dollars so that we can fund these required programs. So that is a big one. Another one that takes a significant contribution, and once again, this is not a dig on this program, but it's special ed. Special ed requires what we call a contribution. Basically, what that means is they don't have enough revenue to cover their expenditures. So what is custom, this is not unusual at all, this is prevalent throughout the state, is that most school districts will basically have to, like we're doing here, and they'll have to contribute some money to special ed to basically cover the costs that they're not pulling in. So basically, those are the big programs that require a contribution. That's what you're seeing on that slide. Where is it here? That's what you're seeing back in the other financing sources at the bottom. Those are the main programs that compose that. It's on the restricted side. That 2.1 million is maintenance, transportation, custodial, and special ed.
And our 2024-25 ending balance is how much, what percent?
As it sits right there, it's hovering about 20.
Okay, that's all I have.
John?
Nothing at this time, sir?
Sabrina? Macarena?
Nothing from me.
Just a quick question. COPs, do we have any ending up soon, still carried?
I think for the couple COPs we still have several years to go on those. I believe we paid one off maybe a year or two ago, so that one's kind of fallen off the books.
Okay.
But yeah, we still have two, I believe, with, the term is still several years out.
Yeah, okay.
And Mr. Cav, if you can share with the board that based on this, we received a positive certification,
Yes.
so that they understand the difference between a positive, especially also for our students.
Oh, yes.
We want to have a positive certification.
Thank you very much. Yes, so once again, this is the first interim. It's required that all public school districts do it, and we basically have to have it, before the board approved, and then it's due to all county offices throughout the state by the 15th of December. So basically, it's due in a couple days. And what a positive certification means is that when we do these multi-year projections, as long as we can basically meet our financial obligations for the next 3 years, and in the third year out, our ending fund balance is above 3% or more, which it is here, then that means that we can basically pay our bills for the next 3 years. We send this to the county office. They review it to make sure everything is correct and there isn't anything grossly erred in here. And then they will give it a positive certification, and they'll send it back to the board and the board president and the superintendent, saying that basically your first interim annual financial report looks good, and that you can keep going on as we are now. Now, if by some chance there are some districts that basically receive negative certifications, and what that basically means is that the county office sees some signs of fiscal distress. Probably what's happening is that they're seeing significant deficit spending, or In the 30 route is showing that the district won't be able to meet its 3% reserve requirement. And if a district gets a negative certification, what happens is that the county office becomes more involved in the day-to-day activities when it comes to spending. So if that were the case, the county office would basically take a much more involved oversight role than they are now. And so that's why it's important to maintain a positive certification so we can keep on advancing the directives that the board gives us with basically, county oversight, just basically that is minimal. And that's the reason that we want to keep our reserve healthy and be able to make sure that we can pay our bills for the next several years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to 15.2. Approval of the first period interim report, positive certification of financial status.
Move.
Alice Lopez, John Vasquez. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 15.3. Approval of annual report on the use of the developer fees.
Move.
Second.
Any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Okay, 15.4, a public hearing on the energy service contract, Government Code 4217. We're gonna open at
8:05.
8:05, or thereabouts.
So I would like to start off by first introducing Jen Petherick. She is with Terra Verde, they are our solar consultants. We've been working on the solar project for about a year. So Jen has been involved in the entire project from when the board approved the contract about a year ago till today. So we thought it would be helpful, since we have a couple new board members, basically just to kind of give a recap of the process, the timelines. I believe she even has some schematics as to where the solar arrays are supposed to go at each site. And this is the requirement for basically approving the resolution, the accompanying PPAs that the board has in the following item. So this public hearing is one of the requirements to proceed with the solar PPAs. So with that, I will just go ahead and turn it over to Jen. So thank you very much. And I think it's
Hi, everyone. So I will start with just a brief history of the process we've been through. So back in June, the board approved the solar PV array location at each of the 4 sites: Farmersville High School, Farmersville Junior High School, J. Hester, and Snowden. And we'll look at those array locations a little later on in the presentation. Again, in June, we've been preparing the RFP in parallel, and so we're able to release the request for proposals to vendors, to the market in that same month, right after the array locations were approved. Then responses to the RFP were received and reviewed. We received 6 responses to the request for proposals. 3 of those respondents were selected to come and have an interview process with the district. And out of that interview process, as well as the review of the RFP responses themselves, 1 respondent was selected to move into contract negotiations with. So that selection process was completed in September of 2022, and then contract negotiations were completed in December, so quite recently. And we're here today to review those contracts for approval. So for a summary of savings, I've listed each site here that is proposed to get a solar PV array, as well as the KW DC size of the solar PV system, the battery KW and kilowatt hour size, and only Farmersville High School is proposed to get a battery because that has the highest demand, and therefore a battery makes the most financial sense at that site. All of the contracts are under a power purchase agreement financing structure. And what that means is that you pay for energy on a $1 per kilowatt hour basis of the energy that's produced by the solar PV system. So there's no upfront cash contribution from the district. The battery is paid for on a monthly fee, and that is also shown here. And then the 25-year net savings from each project are shown in that last column. One key point here is that the Inflation Reduction Act was just passed very recently by the federal government. And what that did was create a re-up an incentive that already existed but was decreasing and re-increased it to 30% for projects that meet specific requirements, which these projects do. And so, that Inflation Reduction Act was passed in the middle of the RFP process. But we were able to ask the RFP respondents to ensure that they submitted their responses with consideration for that Inflation Reduction Act benefit. And so in those PPA rates that were provided, that 30% incentive is incorporated. But the other benefit that is kind of new that came out of the Inflation Reduction Act is 2 additional 10% adders that could be wrapped into the PPA rates. One is for domestic content. So if the project uses US-based equipment made and manufactured in the US, and the other one is a low-income eligibility. And each of the 4 sites is eligible for the low-income 10% adder. So the reason those aren't factored into the PPA rates already is because the Treasury hasn't released their final guidance on the requirements around those 2 adders. So the PPAs themselves include language that obligate the PPA provider to go after those 10% adders on behalf of the district and try to achieve them. And if they do, then the PPA rates will reduce and the savings will increase. And there's a high likelihood they'll be able to get, if not one, both of those, based on their feedback on what they know already. Additionally, another key factor in the solar project is the imminent, probably on Thursday, decision by the CPUC to transition from what's called the Net Energy Metering 2 program to a new kind of net energy metering, but not really net energy metering anymore, which has a significant impact on the financial viability of these projects. So in order to get ahead of that and ensure that each of these projects were eligible for the more financially beneficial program, Net Energy Metering 2, interconnection applications have been submitted for each site, and each project is currently eligible for the Net Energy Metering 2 financial benefits. And so no matter what the CPUC does on Thursday, these projects are eligible for that. Additionally, there's another program called the Self-Generation Incentive Program that has incentives for batteries. And that was fully subscribed at the time we ran the RFP, but has since opened up for a wait list. And so we've submitted a incentive application for that program as well. And if that comes through, that will significantly reduce the battery rate. So we're just a lot of things in motion, but all of these numbers that are in this chart are what is in the PPA now, and we'll just do amendments as additional benefits come in to lower these rates and increase the savings. Any questions?
On the battery, that's $4,707 a month?
Mm-hmm.
This system is rated at 83% capacity, is that correct?
Yeah, and additionally, it will be set up to provide backup power during a grid outage. So at the high school, there's 2 main switchboards. The switchboard that's very close to the main service will be backed up during a grid outage by that battery. So it will provide financial benefits even at this rate, and we hope that the SGIP incentive program will bring that rate down. And additionally, no financial benefit has been assigned to the fact that it will provide backup power during a grid outage.
For the expenditures, then we're looking at about 70% expenditures from the 83% production.
Sorry, one more time.
We're gonna, this produced for 83%. which means we have to pay 17%, correct? If it's not producing 100% of our usage, is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes. Yes, so we size the solar PV systems less than 100% of the consumption because solar PV systems generally generate a lot of energy during the summer when rates are higher. And so you're exporting a lot of that energy to the grid
I see.
during the summer, and it's generating bill credits that roll over month to month and get to offset your winter bills, which are typically lower. And so you wouldn't want to size it 100% because you would be losing credits essentially on your utility bills.
So overall, we're closer to maybe 95%?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
For how many years are we be paying the 47?
It's a 25-year contract
So we'll be paying close to $1.some million
Yeah.
on a battery
for the battery, yes.
after 20, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the next steps, if the contracts are approved, would be the design and due diligence, which is anticipated contractually to take 10 months, but we don't think it's gonna take 10 months because we've already done a lot of it to date. The interconnection applications tend to be a long lead item, but they've all been submitted already, and the Farmersville High School one is fairly far into the process already. And then additionally, title reports and like land due diligence, we've already started as well. So a lot of those long lead items have been started, and so it could be possible that construction could start this summer even, I think.
Sorry.
So in terms of array locations, this is J.E. Hester. So on the left is the array locations that the board approved back in June, and on the right are the array locations that the PPA provider proposed in the RFP response. So the only difference between these two, you'll see the red, the red box in the board-approved version, and that was where we were thinking we would need a non-solar shade structure, but DSD believes they can install a solar shade structure there, and so the additional cost to do a non-solar shade structure is not required. At Snowden, similarly, we gave them more space than we thought they would need, just so they had the flexibility to choose. And they chose to just do the arrays that will be over top of the new parking lot that's going at the new site. At Farmersville Junior High School, the arrays exactly line up to provide the shaded cover sitting area at that site. And then Farmersville High School, the same thing. It's parking lot shade structures. And that is it. Are there any additional questions?
Any questions from the community? You wanted to repeat it, maybe just to be sure? Okay. Any board members, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm a little concerned about paying for that battery for as long as we need to pay for it, one. Second of all, the total cost for this project, where's Jason at? Talk to me about the total cost it's gonna cost the district for this project.
Well, so we are doing this under a PPA agreement, so the entire construction cost is based on the provider. So we're not gonna come out of pocket for any of the construction-related costs for this entire project. You know, there may be some incidentals, like typically when there's a construction project, you have to pay for the project inspector, you know, maybe some miscellaneous fees here or there, but the lion's share of the project is paid for by DSD.
And even though those expected fees have been wrapped into the PPA rate actually, and the district will get reimbursed for those out-of-pocket costs that you would incur. Zero. Literally.
Good deal.
So the only cost.
Been working on this for a long
It's
time.
gonna cost
That's what I
us
like.
is 47 per month.
Yes, and of course, we have to pay Terra Verde for their services, which is kind of part of this project. Yes. budget it in our budget. Thank you.
Okay. No more questions. We'll close discussions
At what time?
8:20. Okay. We'll move on to 15.5, adoption of the resolution number 09-12-13-22 for the power purchase agreement with Distribution Solar Development.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
I'll second.
John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. Okay, 15.6. Approval of Consolidated Testing Laboratories contract for drilling a new well at the Hester School
Got to do it. Move.
Second.
with John Vasquez, Alice Lopez with the recommendation? With that recommendation that this is there?
There were, yes.
Yes, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. 7.0, future meeting dates. 17.1, January 17th, 2023, February 14th, 2023. 20.0, adjournment to closed session. 21. 20.1, conference with labor negotiations, GC 54956.7. It is the intention of the board to meet in closed session to review its position, to instruct its designated reps, agencies, designate representative, Jason Kraft, Jeff Wimp, name of organization, FTA, SCEA Management. 20.2, conference with legal counsel, anticipation litigation, government code, section 54956.9, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision D of section 54956.9. 20.3, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, government code 54957. Now, items there, we're good to go.
Jason stay behind, everybody else can, on the team.
have to lean in and speak.
Oh, we
Speak
need
softly.
Rosemary. Oh,
Carry a big hammer.
we need to let Rosemary know.
Yeah, let me see if she's in.
I'll go get her. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. 'Cause I need to know if that thing's gonna be on.
Yeah, somebody, Chris should be around here somewhere, I would think.
Okay, all right, thanks. Bye.
Oh, you said?
They told you we were live streaming, right?
What's that?
They told you we were live streaming?
Oh, no.
Oh, that would tell you. Yeah, all the meetings were live streamed. 7,000 people wanted to join. So, yeah.
Thank you, but I didn't know that. For real? Really?
Yeah, it's the camera.
Oh.
I think you called Chris.
Yeah, it's on, we're good to go.
Yeah, we're just waiting on Sabrina.
Yeah, I just talked to Chris.
Oh, okay.
He's got it going. She saw us come in.
I need signatures from all of you tonight, and especially the president and clerk. That means both Johns.
John Johns.
Okay, back in open session at, 9:58. Action taken in closed session items. 21.1, conference with legal negotiators, GC 54956.7. It is the intention of the board to each of those sessions to review its position and to instruct the designated reps, agency designated representative, Jason Camp, Jeff Webb, name of organization, FDA, CSEH, management, no action taken. 21.2, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, government code, section 54956.9, significant exposure to litigation, pursuit to subdivision D of section 54956.9, no action taken. 21.3, public employee discipline, dismissal, release complaint, government code 54957, no action taken. Adjournment. Motion.
Motion.
Second. What time was it?
It is 8:30 or 9:30?
The motion was made by who?
Sabrina.
Sabrina?
Second by House Lopez. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody.
So our new membership, if you can sign over with escrow paperwork.
Okay, just a real quick question. So the camera still keeps rolling, even when we're in closed session? There's no cutoff, right, no audio, okay, just so that everybody's aware,
Yeah, I just-
Thank you.
okay?
I made Sabrina
Thank you
aware
for that.
before, and I just made,
He
doing it
told-
right now, but I
He
didn't
told me
know.
not
I
to
had no